Dana Holgorsen is dropping bombs, opinions about head coaching in college football, and Rich Rodriguez is in the blast zone. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host around here. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking about Dana Holgorsen for some reason today. Rich Rod and Tony Gibson went to a concert together, and we got summer workout updates. Who is killing it during the summer? I definitely found out a few names you're going to want to know about. Pretty impressive stuff going on in the camp scene right now, guys. I'll explain more of that here in a minute. Let's talk about all this. So before we do that, we have to recognize the channel sponsor today, who is FanDuel. And, you know, when it comes to FanDuel, they do a big each and every year. And right now, if you want to get $200 in bonus bets, all you have to do is go to FanDuel right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins, but you have to go to FanDuel.com to get started. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Let's get to it. So Dana Holgorsen has opinions. If that I don't know if that shocks you or not, but he says the head coaching role in college football now is all CEO nowadays, and that you can't call plays and be a head coach at the same time. I think he's living proof of that in some ways, because what happened at Houston, right? But we know even at West Virginia, he talked about the difficulty of this, and it got me thinking. Like he went on this big thing about it, talking about how as the head coach, you have to be more CEO like. You have to worry about raising money for NIL. You have to worry about keeping your staff in line. You have to worry about a culture. You have to worry about all these different things that maybe 20 years ago you didn't have to worry about. And that got me thinking, Rich Rodriguez, he comes with that. Rich Rodriguez comes to your program, he's automatically dual hat, automatically is a play caller. That's what he's doing. Is Dana Holgorsen saying that Rich Rod can't succeed at that? Or any coach that does that? Because that was the tone that he'd taken. So even though he's not directly calling out Rich Rod, I feel like he's calling out what Rich Rod's trying to do. And to me, it's like, just because you couldn't do it, Dana, and so I wanted to jump into the numbers a little bit and look and see what the success rate is of coaches who were CEO like versus coaches who did both last year. It's an interesting mix, actually. So that's what we're going to do here on this one, on this first segment. But yeah, so I'm trying to get to the article. I had it pulled up, and I guess I messing around right before the show, I must have got rid of it. So, but I mean, like I said, Rich Rodriguez is the head coach and the play caller. He's going to run a spread option attack with either Nico or Jalen Henderson or Max Brown, by the way. And so while this isn't Jacksonville State, we get that. This isn't circa 2007 West Virginia. I get it. You're playing against Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Utah. I get that too. But Rich Rod has 190 wins, four Big East championships, some BCS bowl wins and all that. I mean, look what he just did, right? Let's get to the coaches that were successful last year, which were quite a few, right? Overall, it's an interesting mix, like I said. Let me get to it here. For some reason, I've got this all mixed up. I don't know what I've done here. Apparently, okay, so last year, coaches that coached in the college football playoff that did both, It's kind of a short list. It's not as many as you would think, but so Dan Lanning obviously has a defensive background. He's the head coach of Oregon and was the Georgia defensive coordinator. He did not call plays for Oregon in 2024. Will Stein ran the offense, leveraging quarterback Dylan Gabriel's Heisman caliber year to take them into the playoff. And then defensive coordinator Tosh Lapoy handled defensive play calling duties. So he was CEO type, worked for them. What about Kirby Smart? Maybe the best defensive mind in the game or one of them. Well, we know he didn't do it. We know that my guy Glenn Schumann was his defensive coordinator last year through their SEC championship run. What about Boise State over at Spencer Danielson? What did he do? He's a head coach with a defensive background, if you'll remember. He got promoted from that interim defensive coordinator to interim coach in 2023. And then he brought in Bush Hamden to run the offense. And then obviously they had Ashton Genty on the team, which was what a godsend that was. But they brought in Eric Chandler to call the plays on defense for them. So CEO role. There's another playoff team that has a CEO only role. Steve Sarkisian, one of the best play callers in the country, renowned for his play calling. Took Alabama to the national championship game and won it. Kyle Flood comes in for him and calls his plays. If anybody has a right to do this, it's probably Steve Sarkisian, or you can make the same case for Ryan Day. Ryan Day's maybe the most proven play caller on the list, but he went out and got Chip Kelly to call his plays. So are they proving Dana Holgorsen right? Are all these established play callers realizing that you have to have a second guy to help you in this day and age? Should we be worried about the fact that we have a coach that's going to do both? It's an interesting question. I don't think anybody's thought about it yet. What about Josh Heupel? Obviously, we know about his play calling and how beast of a play caller he's been in the past. Up-tempo offense, very much like Rich Rod. Well, he called plays last year. Tennessee went 10-3 and had a top 10 year. So there's one outlier. What about Kurt Cignetti? We know he's an offensive-minded guy. Did he call plays or did he not know? He brought in Mike Shanahan. So, obviously Curtis Rourke and those guys had a really great year. Rhett Lashley, offensive coordinator, we know all about his history. Had a heck of an offensive coordinator history under his belt. And he was also their play caller. He called SMU's plays last year. They won 11 games. Dabo Swinney, we know he's an offensive guy. What did he do? Well, he brought in Garrett Riley, which was a great choice. What about Penn State and James Franklin? We know he was a great offensive coordinator as well, going back to his days at Vanderbilt. Andy Kotelnicki calls the plays for them, So in some cases, you could say that these guys have brought in better offensive coordinators than maybe even they are in their prime. Like Kotelnicki, I think is probably better than Franklin, although Franklin has had more long-term success. So, and then you get to the last but not the least, Kenny Dillingham in the Big 12 is an offensive guy. We know that. I mean, and look, a very good offensive mind at that. He called the plays for Arizona State. So there is 3 guys on this list: Kenny Dillingham, Josh Heupel, and Rhett Lashley. Interestingly enough, all offensive guys. No defensive guys. I wonder why that is. Do you think it takes more game planning to be a defensive coordinator than it does to be an offensive coordinator? I think so. I think you're dealing with more pieces as well. Offensive lineman pretty much stayed the same. He might bring in an extra guy or 2 here and there, but you got the same 5 there. You got the same quarterback. You got the same 2 running backs, and the only thing you really have to worry about is wide receiver, but they do the same thing. I think if you're talking about from a game plan standpoint and time consumption, offensive coordinator may be just a tad easier. I really don't know, to be honest. Never been there and done it. I'm just trying to guess based on, on defense, you've literally got platoons of guys that come in and out. So you've got to get more guys ready. You get what I'm trying to say? It's an interesting concept. I'm curious. Let me know down below. Do you guys think that Dana Holgorsen is right about his opinion that in this day and age, coaches can't really be both anymore? You got to pick one, or bring a guy in that you trust. Obviously Calvin McGee would have been that guy for Rich Rod, and unfortunately he tragically passed away. Tough situation. He lost his offensive coordinator this past season at Jacksonville State. So, I think overall, when I look at the situation, I think with Rich Rod, I'll take it. I think he's in that level. Josh Heupel, 45 or under, right? So that's interesting. I'm sure there's, it's not a large enough sample size. And then I would like to get outside the playoff and look at that too. Like teams that just had a great year would be interesting to look at as well. Let's look at the final AP top 25 real quick. AP top 25 football. Okay, so the final AP top 25 was, once you get outside the top 12, you've got, okay. You had Ole Miss. You have finished at 11. BYU, well, we know Kalani Sitake doesn't call any plays. Iowa State, we know Matt Campbell doesn't call any plays. Does he? Is Matt Campbell their offensive coordinator? I don't know. Let's see. Who is Iowa State's OC? Taylor Mauser. No, yeah, he's their OC. Taylor Mauser's their OC. That's right. It's funny. You know what's crazy is, you really realize you don't know as much as you think you know when you start looking at the landscape. Like sometimes I'll forget really easy. I don't know certain defensive or offensive coordinators on these teams because we're so focused on West Virginia anymore. Before I started doing this for a career, I really watched every team. Now that it's West Virginia, it's like I'm so consumed with West Virginia that I miss a lot of other teams. Obviously, Alabama has a head coach that has called plays in the past in Jed Fish. I don't know, not Jed Fish. Illinois, obviously. We know Brett Bielema calls plays. So it's a mix. I think it leans more heavy though towards CEO role, but I think Rich Rod, what he did in a sense, and this is just my sense, and I could be wrong on this. I think hiring Zach Alley, a guy that is going to be aggressive on defense and get Rich Rod the ball back, I think is going to be key. This off season. I'm not with it apparently. This year when it comes to what he wants and how he feels like he can win. Like when we had Castile being aggressive, go back to that Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl. Even though that Rich Rod didn't technically coach that game, look at how that defense played that day. So good. Or go back to the Sugar Bowl and look how they played that day, even though it got away from them towards the end. That aggressive style, what it's able to do is get us leads in a lot of cases. Or like Louisville, you get torched sometimes. Brian Brom comes in and just torches you. It's crazy that he's a coach now. It blows me away. Let's go to break. On the other side, Rich Rodriguez and Tony Gibson were at a concert together yesterday, and summer workout updates. I've got them for you, and I'm talking some pretty big updates, massive quarterback updates. We'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by none other than the Great Late FanDuel. When it comes to them, even if you know this or not, but they're doing it big as pay usual. Right now, sign up for FanDuel and get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins, so you can follow the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, You can get in on the game while your friends are getting used to getting sunburned at the beach. After all, summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, high stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, makes regular season games feel like must win events and must watch events. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5, get 150 in bonus bets. That's if you win. Open the FanDuel app today or just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Segment 2, let's crack a do and get into this conversation about Rich Rod and Tony Gibson. They're best friends again. So I got sent something yesterday. I think I've still got it pulled up. My sister was at a concert, and Rich Rod and Tony Gibson were there together. And he polled the crowd and said, "Hey, who do you guys like better, Marshall or West Virginia?" And this is closer to where I live, towards Huntington, I think. And it was a pro West Virginia crowd. So there's video of actually Rich Rod and Tony Gibson out there when they're doing this. But my sister caught this version. Shit. Eat shit, Pit. It was awesome, man. She sent me that yesterday. I said, "Oh no, I should have went with you guys." And just think, Rich Rod was there. I could have cornered him. I could have stalked him. I'm just kidding. No, but I would have definitely tried. Actually, I would have tried both of them. I'd have tried to get Tony Gibson as well. I mean, he'd be a good interview for me. I'm a nut job when it comes to that stuff. You guys know this. I don't think it means anything for the Cold Bowl, by the way. I've seen people trying to draw those comparisons, I guess, connect those dots. I mean, they've known each other for decades. I don't know. I just think that I just don't think there's anything there. I mean, we're going to, there's just not very much room on the calendar. If we're going to do it, we're going to have to move some teams off. And certainly you could help fill a void, I think, for a lot of people. Whether West Virginia fans want to admit it or not, we get up for the Marshall game. I did anyways, personally. I get up for that game just because I know a lot of Marshall people and would love to talk crap. But, it would definitely fill the void for when Pitt was away. Well, I'll have to play any of our rivals while this is going on. And we're playing Tennessee. We're playing Alabama. It's like, I love that. I mean, I love that. That's fine. It's just, I would like to play a Virginia Tech, a Maryland, a Pitt. Any of those three teams would work for me while we're not playing Pitt, personally, because I really want to beat either of those teams no matter what. The concert was something Riley Green or Kelly Green or somebody. I don't know. Surely not Kelly Green. That's Marshall's colors. All right. So summer workout updates. Let's do a 6-second break really quick. We'll come right back. I'll tell you guys who the summer studs are as of right now. And I'm going to be honest about something that I hadn't considered. And it's making me rethink some of these guys I've been pushing that I think will be starters. I'm back here on Locked On West Virginia in segment 3. So a lot of you guys know, I have relationships with some of these guys, and we talk. And sometimes things come up in conversation. It's not like I'm pressing them for information or anything like that. But over the years, I've gained dozens of acquaintances. I wouldn't consider me best friends or even buddies with any of these people, but I'm a supporter of theirs individually a lot of times, or just of the team. So we have conversations, just like I guess anybody in the media, you get updates sometimes. And of course, there are a couple guys that I go to that's literally our whole thing is like, I ask you certain things, right? Of course, I wanted to know about offensive line. That's my favorite position group. And Here's something I didn't consider. I don't know if I should get specific or not. I'm not going to get specific, but here's something I didn't consider. There are some guys that you probably think is going to be really good next year. There were some guys that I think is going to be really good this year. I mean, not this coming season, not next year. Next year means this year for me, because it ain't came yet. But that are absolutely falling out, and I mean falling out of these conditioning drills that they're doing. Matter of fact, there's a couple specific guys that I would probably had pegged as number one or number twos, right there in the mix for a starting job that have been pretty disappointing so far, unfortunately. I don't want to get into names, but just know that I've pushed a couple of these guys publicly pretty hard. So, I don't know. And here's the thing, I was talking to the guy about it, and I was like, well, I mean, it's so important to be in shape in Rich Rod's system that I don't know how big of an impact it's going to. Because if they put the pads on and this guy's kicking people's ass, like I think he still can. Like you're talking about on a play, yeah, absolutely. But like up tempo, 60, 70 plays, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And I guess I just didn't factor that in and haven't been factoring that into my evaluations as much because it's just not something you think about. You watch tape on a guy or you watch highlights and you don't think about what conditioning he has or what shape he's in or if he's staying out too late or you just look at what the product looks like on the field and that's it. Segment 3, take a pee. I like it. I'll allow it this one time, Mark. But I'll tell you what, I might catch charges for that or something. I don't know. It'd be weird. But in all seriousness, so a couple people that I've been pushing, like I said, have been falling out of drills and haven't really improved yet either. Now they're a few weeks into this. So I'll keep tabs on it. Can't give you specifics on this one, but because I'm not going to put a guy out there like that, especially when I like him. Even if I didn't like him, I wouldn't do this. Now, if they ever get in the game or something and then it shows up, I'll absolutely harken back to this and say, hey, this is who I was talking about. But until then, sorry, I'm making you speculate, but I don't feel like that. It's too early anyway to even bring this all the way up. I'm just bringing it up because there have been certain people I pushed really hard that unfortunately just haven't kept up in conditioning. So we'll see how that goes from here on. Now, if you want to talk about good news, I've got that on the quarterback front. I've spoken to 3 or 4 guys anyway over the last couple days. One guy for an hour, like I felt like it was like I needed to get off the phone with him and he kept talking, it was so fun. Some of these guys, man, they want to talk, they want to talk about how things are going. This is no lie. I keep hearing Scotty Fox's name. I mean, I do. I hope this comes to fruition, but I hear Scotty Fox's name every time. He's not the first name out of some people's mouths. One guy's he is. But man, is he being mentioned as one of the absolute hardest workers on the entire team and a guy that fits what Rich Rod wants to do from a running standpoint that's developing as a passer. He's probably like Garrett Green, probably, like he can throw it around, but he's not that super developed as a passer yet. But I keep hearing Scotty Fox's name over and over and over again. And then another guy I heard a lot this week that's kind of come on here lately is Max Brown. As a matter of fact, I was told by one guy, listen, he's our best passer, and it's not close. And I got to wondering, you know what? I've seen that on tape from him. It's not like he has really high interception numbers. That's true. He does. But man, he had some really good games at Florida. Go watch the Missouri game. Go watch the Missouri game and watch Max Brown play ball. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying Nico's going to win the job or anything like that, or even Jalen. But I'm just saying Max Brown I think, is in this race to Rich Rod. I really believe that. I asked everybody. I said, hey, is this really a competition? Like, I ask everybody the same way. And a couple of these guys I really trust. And it's really a competition. There is no, at least to the players, real winner. And it's not really separating itself because it's conditioning work. It's off season. I mean, I think they do walkthroughs together, but I mean, it's not full pads. It's not full go. It's not live rounds. And the thing about quarterback is it's probably not going to be live rounds. You can't afford to get anybody hurt. So, Khalil Wilkins maybe, or somebody like that who maybe runs scout team. But yeah, I just found this supremely interesting. So we're going to watch some Scotty Fox. We're going to watch some Max Brown because I want to point out some things from both these guys that I think is really good. For those of you that are late to the party on the Dana thing, he didn't say anything specifically about Rich Rod as much as he did about coaching in general. That I feel like it pertains to Rich Rod, in that he says that it's really hard for coaches to play call and be CEOs. You got to be one or the other these days. He's watching Matt Rhule do it right now at Nebraska, and I think he's kind of seeing. And I agree. I do think there are great benefits to it, for sure. Like, it's definitely not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be CEO at all, but when you're Rich Rod, I think him being the OC is such a part of the fabric of what he does as a coach. And he's such an innovative play caller, like he's really good at calling plays as well. So, it'd be different if he was an average Joe, or he literally created an offense and knows how to run it better than anybody. So we'll see. Let's get to some tape really quick. Let's get old Max Brown on the screen here. The thing about Max Brown is he literally has all the talent in the world. He really does. Like, I could absolutely see a world where he plays for us and is good. It seems crazy now, but as soon as he makes a couple plays, you'll be like, Max Brown, get me a Max Brown jersey. How about Max Brown against Florida State when Florida State was really good a couple years ago? That's this play right here. And then you got some practice clips of him as well. So that arm, and that's all platform, right? Off platform, off the back foot, right? That's, he didn't step into that at all and zinged it in there. Now it's behind the receiver some. I get it. But you'll see on some of these, like this throw here, what a dot. That's a straight up dagger dot right there. And look at the touch he puts on this one. He just barely lets this thing flick out of his wrist. A beautiful throw. And that's at Florida, right? Once again. Guy in his face. Look at the quickness, right? This is Florida. I mean, this is not, these are 4 and 5 star guys. But watch the quickness and look at the offense. You got a guy crashing down. You got a guy coming on the RPO. He's literally this is Rich Rod's offense, right? So he's got experience in this offense. And look, you got a guy blitzing right at you. Watch him quickly sidestep this guy. Boom. Nicely done, right? And then look at the zing. And then, that's just look at him stick this thing in there. It's got great zip on it. I bet he's got the strongest arm on the team. We'll show another clip here in a minute. He throws the ball 65 yards in the air, jumping up in the air, doing a pirouette. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. 3-step drop, moving to his left, throwing right. That is an NFL throw right there, guys. That's an NFL throw. Now moving left, throwing left, I meant to say. Um, I mean, you can't do any better than that. It's impossible. And that thing was, I mean, can we just watch it one more time? Look at the zip on this ball. I mean, he really ripped this thing in there. That ball's humming and coming. It's definitely, it was out there, buddy. Once again, it's Rich Rod's offense in a lot of ways. Quarterback run game, and look at him against Florida. That's against Florida. He's running the ball in. Here he is again. You think you'll run this play at West Virginia? I think you will. The defensive end crashes down. Oh, I'll keep that. Thank you. And a little juke move. I mean, he's not Pat White, obviously, but he's definitely good enough to run this offense. There's a guy at your feet. Look at that throw, guys. That's a nasty throw. Are you kidding me? Like, this is a Patrick Mahomes type throw. Almost a no look. He didn't even step into it. Look at the throwing motion here. That's insane. That's a really good throw. But, so whenever they told me that, I went to go look. I went diving deep into the tape on this kid. This kid's got a really, really good arm. If he gets it, this is one of those guys that I think, Rich Rod, you take a chance on him. He's low risk and extremely high reward. He's got good enough wheels to get you 500-600 yards running the ball on the ground in a season. And he's one of those guys where you would be more of a passing team, I think. But maybe not. I think he runs it well enough to where you could do both either. But, I mean, if he gets it as a passer, we're talking serious. I mean, you can see here, he's a pretty good runner. I mean, it's definitely not the best ever, but as a thrower, I mean, look at this dot right here. You're talking, I mean, this is all against Florida, by the way. I mean, I don't mean to keep saying that, but, this is the Florida first and second team defense here. So 4- and 5-star players. And look, he's not having any duress right here. I get that. He's just standing back in the pocket. Actually, he does have a guy coming at him right here. This ball travels every bit of 55 yards, maybe 45. Really good stuff, man. And look, here Eddie Kelly Jr. should be on the field right there, probably. Man, this might be before he got there, though. That I think 2023 maybe. So anyway, obviously, I love this play because this defense or this outside linebacker doesn't bite on the. I mean, the motion's going out, the back's coming in. So, he does exactly what he's taught to do right here. It's exactly what you're taught to do. But Max Brown's quick. He's quicker than he is fast. And look, he's got enough wheels. That's SEC competition. He's getting 15, 20-yard chunks. So I certainly think there's a lot to like. There's another incredible throw. I got to be honest, guys. I don't doubt what I was told. I can see he's the best thrower on the team. Doesn't mean he's going to start. I'm not saying that at all. Please don't. I'm not making the case for him to start here. I'm just saying, look what we've got here. We've got a guy that if we gets it, I mean, look at some of these throws. These are elite throws, elite spots. I don't know where the interception problems come from. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have anybody to throw it to at Charlotte. I have to pull the numbers back up, but it's really bad at Charlotte. But I mean, as far as Florida's concerned here, look at the quickness. Well, he can definitely run this offense, can he? All right, we better get off there. But yeah, I'll show you a couple other little clips of him. I've showed these before. It's been a few months, but he's got this thing he does where he just jumps up in the air and tosses it. Here it is, right here. What he does? Like I don't even know where you learn this. You know who I saw do this? Spencer Rattler, when he was at Oklahoma, used to do these drills where he would jump up in the air, pirouette, and throw the ball 50 yards down the field. Lucky you don't throw your shoulder out. What? That's so slick. I mean, honestly, guys, look at this. That's what I keep saying. If this kid gets it, arm talent wise, he's already there. Rolling left, he didn't step into it. That's straight up arm talent. That's what we call, whenever I judge a quarterback, a term I use a lot is arm talent. How do you judge arm talent? Well, Aaron Rodgers had arm talent, right? Tom Brady didn't always have it, but he grew into it, right around the senior year at Michigan. You started to see it. But if you look at him early on, high school footage, he didn't really have it. But so I think you can develop it. But generally speaking, like it's something either you have or you don't. Like the way Aaron Rodgers is able to layer the ball in at any from 45 yards in, he can layer it in, right? This kid here's got some of that. I'm not saying to that level where Patrick Mahomes, his throwing motion is similar to Patrick Mahomes. And I get it. It's on air. There's nobody out there. I'm not trying to overreact too much, but these are, crazy trick shoddy throws.
Right.
To show that he's got a ton of arm talent. And look how he spins that thing. So, I mean, I hope he's really dug in. I hope he's really giving it all he's got. Because for the sake of West Virginia, we need him to be good. I mean, you can never have too many really good players on your team. So, and he's a dual sport athlete. Obviously, it's no surprise that he's a baseball player, as we see there. And here he is at West Virginia, which is cool. But yeah, Max Brown, a kid that I think, a lot of fans specifically, is that him in a Eastern Michigan Chippewas jersey? Interesting. But, I think a lot of fans are sleeping on him. He's 6'3", 215 pounds probably now, I think. But, this is a kid that, I mean, here he is again. He's like a multiple sport athlete. He probably dunks this if it shows it. With ease, yeah. So an incredible athlete, a kid that if he gets it, we can be in good shape. But he's got to get it. All right, one more piece of footage here. I want to show you guys this Justin Harrington stuff because actually two more pieces of footage. Justin Harrington is a name that I've heard this week as somebody that's really starting to look good. You got to think he was coming off a season-ending knee injury last year at Washington from Oklahoma. Obviously, 2023, you're starting at Oklahoma, and that's what all this footage is from. So this is his, and this is, like I say, as far as physically gifted, you can make an argument he's the most physically gifted player on the team outside of maybe Jamori Robinson and maybe like Cam Vaughn or somebody, but like he's in the mix. He's 6'3", close to 6'4", 210 pounds, insanely long arms. If he's 100% healthy and 100% back, I've said it on multiple different occasions now, he's got a shot to be an all Big 12 player. No doubt about it. And you watch what he does here as a coverage. It's really good. He's really, really sticky. Obviously, he's like a seatbelt in a lot of cases. Look at him here. We already looked up number 11 in the past. We've already looked up all these players in the past. They're all Oklahoma wide receivers, though. That's all you really want to need to know, right? And he dominates in drills here. It's not really close. That length, the size, and everything that he has is what makes him so good. I think he's going to play safety for West Virginia, but maybe he's lost a step after he hurt his knee, and maybe that's why. But certainly, I think his length and everything you see here are an exciting mix of size, athletic ability, and some speed. He's not a burner, but he's got enough speed, and man, the length and everything else he has. We can't even stay in phase with these Oklahoma receivers. So, there's a lot to like here. Um, and by the way, I was told he's been looking good this week. So, this is a kid that I'm really excited about, guys. I really want him to be good, so bad for us because I think at safety he could really be all Big 12 type player. I think it's a much better spot for him, like a Robert Sands, because he's not a burner. He's not a guy that's got crazy catch up speed or anything like that. Um, and I don't know if you're going to face the caliber wide receiver. Here he is against Caleb Williams. But I don't know if you face the caliber receiver at West or in the Big 12 as you do at Oklahoma week in, week out, right? So I mean, he's definitely had a ton of experience to really good players. So just wanted to point him out really quick as somebody I've heard some good things about this week. So hopefully he keeps it up. Now I have to keep giving the caveats. Did you guys not see any of that? That's okay. I may have exited out of there. But yeah, so he's a kid though that absolutely has a chance to be so good. So I'm excited about him. We're gonna watch some Scotty Fox high school film. I've done this once before. It's been a few months, but for those of you that haven't seen Scotty Fox play yet, I think you'll see on this film here exactly what I've been hearing about him. He's literally built and meant to run a Rich Rod offense. That's my opinion, and I'll show you why here. Really nice pass there from Scotty. He's still developing that part of his game, obviously. But I mean, he's got a big, strong arm. Running the ball is where he really excels, though. I mean, he is very similar to Garrett Green in a lot of ways. He's bigger, and I don't want to say faster, but he's right on that par with Garrett as far as speed goes. As long as he develops his arm, as long as it keeps on coming, sky's the limit for Scotty Fox as well. But we keep hearing how much of a stud he's going to be. I can't tell you how many times I've heard it. At least 10 times from, well, the same guy tells me every time I ask. One guy tells me every time I ask Scotty Fox, so it's kind of become like a little meme between us. I'm like, all right, so who besides Scotty Fox is what I usually say. But he's like, no, I'm serious. Like he'll double down on it. He's like, no, I'm serious. This kid's going to be a stud. And he even told me on my dad, he said he could start this year. That's what he tells me. And this is a player that will start for West Virginia. So I don't know what you want me to say, except that there is a group of people that believe in this kid possibly this year. Don't count him out. It's an open competition. And I had another guy say that, people think it's just Nico and Jalen, and it's not. He didn't say anything else outside of that. But, I think that's interesting, right? And I'm not shocked to hear it. It's just I think a lot of us want Nico to run away with it just because I think he deserves it, but even Jalen, I want you guys know I love Jalen as well, but Nico's grown on me more and more here over as we get closer to the summer or to the season for a lot of reasons. Yeah, but Scotty Fox is, he brings something different to the table. I think he's probably the best runner maybe on our team outside of it'd be between him and Jalen, right? I hate to sleep on Khalil Wilkins. It's just, you think we would have heard his name by now if he was going to do something. He never really got a chance under Neil Brown. He hasn't had a chance under Rich Rod yet. Maybe all he needs is a chance. I don't know, but Scotty Fox is a name we keep hearing. So keep your eyes peeled to see what happens with Scotty, guys. It's all exciting. It's all fun. It's all, based on hard work right now. So that's the big thing here is these updates, you have to give them the caveat that this all physical conditioning type things. It's all how hard, who's showing up and when, how long are people staying, who's watching the most film, who's getting the most recovery, who's not going out at night, and who's locked in, who's hard edged, right? And your teammates know who is and isn't. You can have a night out, sure. Not saying you can't, but if it starts to impact your conditioning or your routine and you're getting ready for the season, then some teammates that are doing those things are going to judge you accordingly. And that is happening. There are a couple guys that are staying out and drinking things, at night, and they're of age, not saying they can't do it. But it's people take notice though. Whenever if you've never been in a situation like a team environment, or if you've never been in the military like I was, it's the same thing like when you're kids and you've got to do the dishes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and your brother or sister has to do it every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and uh, you know, let's say they don't do it one week or something like that, it feels unfair, right? Well, I had to do it. I had to miss doing this or that. I had to sacrifice this or that to stay home or do laundry, the dishes, or whatever chores. It's kind of similar to that. I think if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do to get better every day, sure, mostly I'm going to be focused on me, but I will take notice if I have teammates that aren't doing the same, right? And I think that there are a couple guys that are, you know, I'll say one thing. One guy mentioned to me that getting money, a lot of money, impacts people differently. Not everybody's going to handle money well. There's a business owner in town that I can't say more, told me, he's dealt with this one specific player a couple different times. And, you know, one time he saw him, he had a brand new 2024 Mercedes. This last time he saw him, he had a 2024 Escalade, or whatever model. I don't know if it's an Escalade or not, a big SUV. And, then he's seen him at the club, like probably 10, 11 o'clock at night or something with 2 or 3 girls. So, it can get you into some sticky situations. Like at the end of the day, that kid's earned that if that's what he wants to do. But at the same time, your teammates can tell them how serious you are about that. And people know. So Scotty Fox has been somebody that he's underage anyways, but he's been somebody that people have taken notice of how hard he works. So keep that in mind for whatever you will. Guys, I appreciate you for joining in. It's been a fun episode to talk about. Dana Holgorsen, he doesn't think guys can coach offense and be the head coach, or defense and be the head coach anymore based on his experience. So maybe just he couldn't. Maybe that's what it was. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. For being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, we talk about your team every single day, giving $50 away to the 5,000 subscriber. Remember that. If you click subscribe and you're number 5,000, that means you get the cash. So hit that subscribe button, man. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's not what it is. It's one of the last 20 people to hit subscribe, I think, or one of the last 30. I'll have to go look at what I wrote down. Where are we at? Let me just go look and see where I'm at on subscribers and make this easier. Let's just make a proclamation right now. Okay, let's go to, so where are we at? We are at 4875. Okay. So what's that? 175. Okay. So we got 125 left to go. I'll just go ahead and make it of the last 125 people. That way, because I mean, you're just not going to click it if if you're not one of the last 30, right? I get that. So if you haven't subscribed here on YouTube yet, get over here after the show or right now because we're pretty much done. Hit the subscribe button. And what I can do, and I can show you guys in the app, it'll show me in order. I can look back all the way to the beginning, all 5,000 people in order when they've subscribed, what date they subscribed, what time of the day they subscribed. It tells you everything. I can look into this list of the last 125 people, and then I'll put them on a wheel, and I'll do a randomizer, and we'll give away $50 to one of you guys. I just want to get to 5,000 so we can just be done and over with, and we're in the off season. So if that's what you want to do, Raven, put that on Discord for me as well. I would appreciate that. Anybody else that's here that's the moderator, put it on X as well if you can, and I'll repost it. All right, guys. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Make sure you check out the portal on YouTube as well, Locked On Portal. Brian does a great job over there covering college football and the rapid changes in the landscape. Check him out on YouTube wherever you get your podcasts. And check me out as well on podcast or here on YouTube. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, guys, this episode's over, and I'm out of here.